Hi, thank you for joining us today. Glad to be with you. I've been away on holiday for about 2 weeks, and that's why I can only give you this update now to the end of quarter 6, which ended at the end of September. Now, we are looking at 6 investments which we have been tracking over the last 18 months. The goal of all of this for me was to prove that the money market as an investment is not really the true thing. The money market is a place where you park money, and we've seen over the years that people in times of turbulence, they want to move to safety, especially equity investments. And yes, for a period of time, we see that the money market did outperform basically all other investments. And you can see on this graph, the thick orange line just shows you over this time period of about 4 years that the money market was basically the best performing asset class. Now, because of this, many people wanted to move to the money market as a permanent investment vehicle, and I set out to prove that over the long term this is not really viable. So we started off with 6 investments. We invested R1,000 hypothetically in each investment. So we invested R6,000. The first one was the pure South African equity fund, and we used the Allan Gray equity fund as a proxy. Then we used the Allan Gray money market fund as a proxy for the money market. We also then looked at a purely offshore equity fund where we used portfolio metrics as the proxy for offshore equity. Then we also invested R1,000 in Kruger Rands, because this is also a hedge for people in times of uncertainty, that they want to flee to more gold type of investments. We also looked then at Bitcoin. We included Bitcoin as an alternative type of investment. And I'm not giving advice saying you should invest in Bitcoin or not. Also, we looked at a purely property equity fund, which is a listed property fund. And we've used Prudential Enhanced Property Tracker Fund as the proxy. So we invested R6,000. And as you can see on this chart, we have now 6 quarters, the end of the 6th quarter. And our total value is at this point in time 12,355, basically a doubling of our money in 18 months. But as you can see, this basically came from Bitcoin. 2 quarters ago, Bitcoin was the R1,000 went up to R9,000. Last quarter, it came down to R5,000, and now it shot up 21% again to R6,000. So if we look at this chart, we've just stripped out Bitcoin just to see the performance of the other funds, and we can clearly see that now that it's more clear, we can see that the Allan Gray equity fund outperformed. Secondly, it was the property fund, which surprised me quite a lot, and then the offshore equity fund, portfolio metrics, came in third. We saw that the R1,000 we invested in the Allan Gray money market is only sitting now at R1,070. So that's a dismal performance, but that's what the money market gives us. And then we see the Kruger Rands, which also picked up quite nicely in the 3rd quarter, but then they lost steam and they're now at R816. So you invested R1,000 and you're down basically almost R200. Now, again, we can just say that if you invested in all of these, you see that diversification helps you in the areas where there's underperformance, like the Kruger Rands, and the massive outperformance of Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, I don't know where the price is going to. Bitcoin currently at that point in time was sitting at about $53,000. A Bitcoin, it can drop right down to $1,000, even less than that, or it can go up maybe to $90,000. Who knows? The point is, if you have a diversified portfolio, that will stand you in good stead over the long term. So we've only been doing this for 18 months, and at the end of the day, we can clearly see at this point that the money market only outperformed Kruger Rands, and all of the other funds actually outperformed money market quite substantially. Now, it's very, very important to realize that 18 months is a very short period, and we definitely need more time to really see what will happen, and this is what we are going to do. So if you're going to wait until at the end of the time, you're going to see, well, okay, Bitcoin did outperform, and then you decide maybe to invest in Bitcoin. That's not really the way to go. We all call it skin in the game. If you have skin in the game, yes, you will feel part of this experiment, and it might go on for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. But I think it's quite clear at this point in time that the money market is not an investment where we've seen our money doubled. You would only have received 70 Rand more for the 1,000 Rand that you've invested in the money market. So I hope this shows you that you should be in different kinds of investments. We call that diversification, and maybe it's a good time for you to start an own portfolio so that you can play along and, as I said, have skin in the game. So let's see what happens next quarter. I can't foretell. We see that the equity markets are quite high. They might come down, Bitcoin might come down, or it might increase. So please look out for next quarter's feedback again. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again in 3 months' time.